Okay, so now I just need to go and my channel, there it is, and video manager. Let me see if this is it. I always lose this stupid link. There we go, YouTube Studio. That's what we want. Got it. Close. Okay, live. Okay. Live now. Here we go. Okay. ITD Photo Club monthly meeting November, December 2018. Okay, and save. Okay, and whatever, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I want to start it. Okay, so let's see. Do I need to add something here? Audio input. Okay. Camera. Mic. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Now people can hear me. Yay. All right. So now
Yeah, for a friend of mine, I saw that for $100, $99,
yeah.
you can buy a teleprompter.
Yes. Okay. All right, this is great. This is great. Now stream now. Okay, stream now, events camera. Okay, so there we go. Hey, I'm up. All right. I'm live. I hope people can hear me. I see Anna's there. So
I see nothing on the big screen.
oh no, you won't see anything. You'll only all you see is the slide.
Oh, okay, that's
All you
fine.
see is the slide.
Yeah, I don't need to see
So yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of a delay on this because of the speed of the connection, but we're good now. Okay, Anna's on there. Hi, Anna. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Um, just give me a little. Let me just see here. Okay, can you? So we're going to, this is a little tricky because I have to flip between the slides now. So, okay, so welcome to the November-December meeting. We're back. We're back to our evening schedule. I know everyone.
You could look at that.
Yeah. We're back to our evening schedules, so I will be still live streaming it for those of you who can't make it, or working from home today or whatever. We'll be resuming our third Wednesday of the month schedule. We adjust for things. January through November, and 5:30 to 7 p.m. roughly, but we're now going to be at the second floor break room as I can get this stuff to work here, and it's a little cozier. And if everyone wants to bring some food, we can bring some food. So that's what's going on with that. Hang on one second, I need to check something. I hope you guys can hear me okay. No, it's all right. Yeah, no, life is, so am I.
I know, we're both at work.
So it's a short little meeting today. We are going to be covering, like I said, the new schedule. Quick thing is our holiday lunch. So our holiday lunch is next Wednesday, December 5th, 2018, from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Yeah, sort of. At Perinola South American Table and Bar. The address is there, 3535 Northwest 83rd Avenue, Suite 101. I did send out a calendar event to everybody. So if you didn't get it, please shoot me an email and let me know. I need to know by Monday so I can have a final head count. Cost is going to be $20 per person, which includes an entree with side and dessert. You're on your own for drinks. Okay, I can't afford your bar tab. So let's be honest. I know the owners of this place. It's pretty nice. We had my daughter's birthday lunch there the other day. It's got a good. We'll have the usual steak, fish, and chicken choices for us to work with. We will have a private room, so we can get loud if we want to. We're pretty loud anyway.
We'll go crazy with our flashes on the cameras.
Yes. Speaking of that, there was an Apple commercial the other day. I think it was an Apple commercial. No, it was a Google Pixel 3 commercial for the Pixel 3 phone. And it was, I've been waiting decades for someone to use this song with this regards, because they were complaining, the people were complaining about how the flash on the smartphones would always wash out the photos, that it wasn't smart enough. And so the commercial is to the theme of the Flash Gordon movies, the theme by Queen. Dun dun dun, Flash, ah! I've been waiting decades for that to happen, and it happened finally. Somebody used it. I think it's hilarious. But anyway, so that's the holiday stuff. Like I said, quick meeting, but we'll be chatting about some other things here at the end, and going off script. No, and I am frozen. Oh dear. She can't hear me? Uh-oh. My encoder setup is correct. It says my stream health is okay. Check resolution. Okay, I need to drop my bit rate. That's why. Okay, hang on a second. We can fix that. Let's see. Nope. Let me see here. Let me turn studio mode off a second. And I'm trying to adjust the show settings. No. Hang on. Oh, she says it's okay now. All right, well, that's better. Okay, so going back over what I had done. We're going to talking about the new schedule, the holiday party, the challenge for the break, which is our usual break challenge. I have people on YouTube, and where we're going to be, and any critique, but I don't think anybody put anything up, so that's going to go kind of quick. So we'll just leave it to a Q&A session at the end. So we have the club resumes its evening schedules, third Wednesday of the month, usually. January to November, we reserve the December meeting for the holiday party. From 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the second floor break room instead of the lab, because this way we don't have to worry about conflicting with late classes and things like that. Just maybe interrupt someone's early meal. After that, we're talking about the holiday lunch, which is going to be on Wednesday, December 5th, 2018, from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Perinola South American Table and Bar, 3535 Northwest 83rd Avenue, Suite 101, Doral, Florida. This is in City Place, Doral, in case you're right across from the Fresh Market. It's like behind Cooper Hawk, and because it's actually in the actual physical City Place itself. It's not a detached building like Cooper Hawk. Okay, it's part of the actual City Place. It's like the very first one right there on the left-hand side. It's the first one. There is parking. There is valet parking, and there is regular parking there. If you want to risk it, you can try and park at the Fresh Market where you don't have to pay, but you may get towed if they think you're there for too long and you haven't shown up with anything from Fresh Market. But there is parking. And there is free parking behind Perinola, I think. Right behind it, if you go underneath, there's some parking in that area. It's going to be a fixed menu, $20 per person, including entree, side, and dessert. You're on your own for drinks. As far as our holiday photo challenge, it's beginning to look like you know what. And we want you to capture the spirit of the season in whatever way you think it's best. So that's pretty much, this is what we always do for the year. We do that. And then the last challenge was your best shot, but I don't know if anybody uploaded anything. So I'm going to check right now. So give me one moment to switch here back to this one. Oh, and in scene 2, I need to add the microphone. There we go. So now we should be okay. Let me see what the video looks like. Oops. There we go. Yeah, we are on the new screen. Awesome. Okay, so go back to the browser. Where's the browser? Oh, there it is. Let me throw the browser over here on the other screen and minimize, exit from this. Hey, you made it, Donnie.
Sorry, work got in the way.
Yeah, I understand. That's okay. So,
This is beautiful. What is dog? Is this your dog?
that's my dog. That's my dog, Newton. He's the newest member of the family. And one of the reasons I've been kind of busy lately. Actually, I need to just go to that screen. Over here, I gotta mouse my way over here and see.
Handle on that gun. Jeez.
Yeah, that's my pistol. It's my revolver. And also an example of product photography. Always make it a learning experience. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not logged in, but that's okay. I should have done that earlier. Oh well. So let me log in real quick. Hang on. Sorry for letting you see under the covers as to what's going on. And yes, send me the silly ass code. There it is. Horrible, horrible thing. I have to type in now. Okay, am I on there? Okay, so it is. By the way, there are going to be some slight changes coming to the way we do stuff in the club. I'm still evaluating how it's going to affect us, but in case you haven't heard the news, Flickr has been bought away from Yahoo and is now owned by the gallery site SmugMug. Okay, SmugMug is like Zenfolio, or Squarespace. They produce portfolio websites, to sell your photographs. And Flickr was more of a social media site than it was that. It's kind of halfway between a gallery and a social media site. And they actually wanted to take advantage of that social media aspect. So they're promising to keep it the same, but I already know that they made some changes in as much as there's no more unlimited free storage. Free accounts are limited now to 1,000 images. And they have a pro account which has unlimited storage, which means I'm going to have to start paying for my pro account again. But they're still going to keep all the social aspects of it, the groups, the pooling, all that other stuff. So we might be able to still work with that. I'm going to see what's going to happen with all of the grandfathered accounts that are coming in regarding that. Anyway, let me go to, where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Let's go to my groups. Let's see if anybody put any stuff up there.
Oh, I don't have next year because I brought pictures back from Nashville. 4 months ago.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we have some stuff there. That's dog show.
Cool.
Yeah, the dog's diving.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so our last challenge was your best shot. But these are some of the long exposure ones. This is from the long exposure, so I don't think anybody put anything new up since they didn't, there was a little difficulty with the last few meetings. So our new one is, it's beginning to look a lot like. So,
Hanukkah.
yeah, well, that's what I said. I didn't say what it was. It could be Hanukkah, it could be Kwanzaa, it could be, it could be Christmas, whatever. I didn't say what it was. I just said it's beginning to look a lot like. So we have that going on. Let me put this over here. So, well, anyway, like I said, Flickr was purchased. Other bits of news from so we had 2 big camera shows now at the end of the year. In September, we had Photokina in Cologne, Germany. This is the last year that Photokina is happening every 2 years. It's now happening every year. So it'll be every year now, which means that the New York show is going to be like, I didn't get to go to Photokina. Because it was always Photokina, and then a month later it was PhotoPlus in New York. And roughly the same size shows, because the PhotoPlus took up all of the Javits Center in New York City. So it was a pretty big show. And but Photokina is billed as the largest camera show in the world. So a lot of companies don't show up to PhotoPlus because they blow their budget on going to Photokina. But since Photokina was every other year, one year they'd blow it on Photokina, another year they'd blow it on Photo Plus. So, the odd number years for Photo Plus were pretty good. But now it's not going to be the same. Photo Plus might die a withering death unless it does something to move itself away, or it might change its schedule. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Because then the two big shows that follow that are the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January, and then there's the CP camera show in Japan in February. And those are the four really big camera shows. The thing is that Consumer Electronics Show is more like for point and shoots and that kind of stuff, and drones and those kinds of things. Whereas Photokina and Photo Plus were more for like the big, heavy-duty, expensive equipment. And then things like backdrops and all of the ancillary equipment that goes with it. Going back a second to our evening schedules, the class will be divided into a beginner section and an advanced section like we had before, since we're not constrained for time like we were with the lunch hour. So we will have a beginner and advanced lesson, portions of each one. And I'm debating. I don't know what's going to go with how it's going to flow with it, because people seem to be having a hard time with the lessons. Because the beginner lessons are usually, a lot of you have already done it, so I'm going to be trying to come up with some more challenging challenges for my advanced students. Give them something a little more to do. Okay? Because remember, the important part of this class is not just attending the meetings, it's also doing the assignment, because it gets you, I'm trying to get you out of your comfort zone. See, if I wanted, Boris would win all the time if I told him, go shoot pictures of birds.
Just something. Always, I don't know.
It's like, so I try and force people out of their comfort zone, so let them pick up new skills. It's how you do it. So,
You didn't like my dog divings?
no, the dog divings are great. They
throw a little whatever it is, and that's what the dog is looking as the dog's running and diving.
Yeah, I know.
That's how they're diving. They're chasing their little.
Yeah, there. Oh, there's the arrow. Okay, let's try to find that. Okay.
See, it's in the water already.
Yeah. Oh, that was me doing some street photography. Street photography, as I mentioned before, is a really a gotta be at the right place at the right time kind of scenario, because you have to be aware of your surroundings, and then be conscious enough that you're not standing there drawing attention to yourself, so that you can kind of remain subtle and in the background. You gotta kind of learn to melt into the background.
So the subject doesn't start looking at you.
Right. Because in some parts of the world, they'll want money. Times Square, especially, if you see clowns wearing really bad costumes of copyrighted characters, don't photograph with them. They'll expect $20. Yeah, like the guy dressed as Elmo, or all those characters you see running around in Times Square. Oh, take a picture with me. That'll be $20, please. And they'll start throwing crap at you if you don't, and chase after you and like trash talk you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of very New York.
New York thing. Huh?
Very New York.
Never been there.
Yeah. This is some of Candido's lowlight stuff. Evilise.
Yeah, I went out early this morning, 6:30. I was on Key Biscayne, do sunrise. It was
Where's
blue
Moscow?
cloud in the sky.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
June 30th.
So I'm going to basically jump back to my photo stream, because we've kind of seen all these photos before. So in case you want, so this little guy, yeah, he's the newest member of our family and has been kind of occupying my time a lot.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's now next week he'll be 5 months.
Good for him and good for you.
And he's currently approaching 38 pounds. and he's not going to stop till he's about 80. The funny part about it is that Maricela picked him. She wanted a golden retriever. Her only previous dog experience was a Lhasa Apso.
Big difference.
Yeah, I however, my dad was the former owner of a Doberman Pinscher Warlock, which is the extra large version. And yeah, so I know what it is to take care of a large dog. So yes, he is the sweetest thing on the face of the earth. You know, one of those too friendly dogs. He's way too friendly. I lost my mouse. Where is it?
Oh, it's up there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Anyway, here's some product work I'm doing. That actually belongs to me, but I'm adding to my portfolio of product work. And this was I just did this right there on my patio. I mean, I just put it on a wooden bench and used bokeh to my advantage. In case anyone's interested, that is a Ruger single 7 in a .327 Federal Magnum. It's a light caliber revolver that holds 7 rounds, but they're very long bullets. They're not very big, but they're very long. But it's capable of pumping a 130 grain slug out at 1,600 feet per second. So what it lacks in mass, it makes up for in velocity.
I assume it's got a kick.
Not really.
No?
No, it kicks like a 22.
No?
Kicks like a 22, hits like a 9.
That's what most people are looking for.
Now, this is a single action revolver. It's cowboy style, meaning in order to shoot, no. You have to cock the hammer to shoot, and then cock the hammer to shoot.
Oh.
It's not a.
Oh, no, that's only in Hollywood.
Ah.
That never works.
Oh, is that right?
Fanning,
Oh, that? Oh.
no, fanning it never works because you need to reset the trigger. You can't just keep the trigger pulled and then just fan the hammer.
Well, but if you pulling the hammer back, but it won't
Rotate
the chamber.
it won't rotate the chamber.
That's the negative thing.
You have to fan the hammer. Pulling the hammer back is what rotates the chamber. Pulling the hammer back is what rotates.
And then the release.
And then release, but you have to reset the trigger. So you have to have like really good finger timing. And so more often than not, what you're going to do is screw up the gun or hurt yourself or both. So fanning the gun is a Hollywood thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. The other day I saw a clip from a film that was on Netflix called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Some Western movie they made. And so this guy, he dresses like a Roy Rogers cowboy, you know, with the frilly shit all over him. And he gets made the sheriff of the town, and it's full of all these really grizzled looking, you know, spaghetti Western style, you know, cowboys. And he looks like an idiot. But he's actually quite skilled, and he declares that the saloon is a gun-free zone. And this one bad guy comes in there, and he managed. You know, they took his pistols, but he had another one hidden in the back of his belt. And so he pulls it on Buster, who's the sheriff of the town, and he asks him basically, "What are you going to do about this? You're unarmed, and I'm not, right?" And then Buster goes and does a drop kick on the table in front of him, and one of the beams of wood, you know, because they had a table separating them, and he drop kicks the table, and the beam of wood goes up, hits the guy in the hand, he goes boom, and he just shoots himself in the head. But then he kicks him 2 more times, and I'm like, and he shoots himself in the head 2 more times, and I'm like, neat. When did he cock the hammer?
It's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood, you know, and it's like, oh, cool, double action cowboy gun. When did that happen? But anyway, we carry on. This is when we got him. A month after we got him. He was 12 pounds when we got him.
Wow.
He's like close to 36, 37 pounds now. and he's already gone through a 35-pound bag of food.
Okay.
This was a first attempt at doing that product photography. I don't know, which one do you like better? Do you like this one or do you like the other one better?
The other one.
See, two dissenting voices, you know.
Well,
Anyway,
that's photography.
this is when we got him.
There's no-
Here's when we got him. As you can tell, here he looks like a puppy, but where is it? Come here. Now he's starting to look like a golden,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A young golden. Yeah.
a young golden. He's got to grow out a little more hair. Fortunately, we are taking him to training
Smart.
because this is his fourth leash.
Choose on it.
He chews through them.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah, and he's teething now because his permanent teeth are coming in. So, meanwhile, back in and this is what I refer to as corgi mode. Anyway, so other bits of fun. This was up in Gainesville. This is Jenny Springs in Gainesville. Gainesville, as you know, is located in the center of the state, so it's a long drive to the beach, or you go to a lake or the springs. But since most of the lakes have parasites, you want to go to the springs, as they have flowing water. So this is at Ginny Springs. We got invited actually by Carol Espinosa from Property Appraiser. Well, she and her husband both went to UF, and they have been doing a tailgate for the opening game. It's the season opener game every year for the last 25 years at UF, with all of his roommates from UF and their families. So the first day we go there, we tailgate and we go to the football game. The second day you go to Ginny Springs and there's a big cajachina and they roast a whole pig.
Whoa.
In this case, there were so many people that had to roast a whole pig and four additional pork shoulders. And so this place has a big long. The creek is like a big lazy river. So you go and you rent floats, or you bring your own giant float. Somebody brought this humongous float. It was like bigger than the car. I think they spent like 45 minutes inflating it with an electric pump. It was enormous. I mean, it could take the whole freaking family. It was like egads. Anyway, that was always fun. This was at the. So there was an art installation in Coral Gables this summer, which was the Umbrella Project. I don't know if you had heard about it. Yeah. So it had live music and stuff like that going on. So this is the Umbrella Project. So this was fun because it was always a good opportunity for photography. That's just me doing random stuff, flowers, testing out some lenses, lens test. This I have to explain this. So
Really? This is hell is that?
okay, so I use Ubuntu Linux a lot, or systems derived from Ubuntu Linux, and so they have interesting code names for their versions. They don't just have release numbers; they have little code names, and their code names tend to be alphabetical and alliterative. It's always like a two-name code name, and it's alliterative, so they both start with the same letter, and it's alphabetical. So, like, for example, 1710 was something like the Audacious Aardvark or something like that. 1804, because they release in October and April, so that's why 2017-10, 2018-04, they just released 2018-10. So the 1804 release was called Bionic Beaver. And the one that was just released now in October was called Cosmic Cuttlefish. So they had a call for art submissions. And this was my entry.
Cool.
And the one that's coming out now next year in April is called Disco Dingo. I can't wait to see the art submissions for that one. But anyway,
How did
so
you put that together?
huh? Well, the space background is just something I picked up off of the NASA website.
Okay.
Okay, I had the picture of the Nautilus, which is in the cuttlefish family,
Okay.
and then this is actually the same thrust skirt from a picture of the space shuttle launching. I just took one and I edited it and rotated it and scaled it to give him 3 engines.
Cool.
Very covered both areas. Cotton,
Yes.
cuddle.
Yes, exactly. So, and then this was actually a black and white photograph. So what I did was I actually did what they call split toning, and I matched the colors from the background to make it look like he's reflecting the space that's around him.
Very neat.
A form of cloaking device.
Exactly. That's why you never see these things. That's that guy again. This was we got a new door in the house, and the first thing that happens, we get a frog on it.
Tree frog, yeah.
Tree frog. My wife was like, "What is that at the glass?" Because they had the light on outside, and she sees the shadow of the frog inside the glass, and like, it's a tree frog. Get rid of it.
Well, there's nothing that going in an evening. You go in your car and you go in, and the first thing you see on the windshield is a tree frog.
Yeah, no.
You go like,
He's like staring at you.
yeah. So come on, get off.
One of my cats. That's just me street photographing at Dayland. Malls, you have to be kind of careful. Depending on the mall, they might not want you taking photographs. Ostensibly, it's to protect the wares being shown in the windows. Like, for example, the Falls, strangely enough, lets you have cameras as long as you don't point them at the stores. You can point it at the middle of the falls where all the topiaries and the Christmas lights, and they got some new stuff, by the way. They just got some new decorations there, so, and they actually have photo spots marked out, so you can go there and like take shots. Yeah, the falls. No, the falls. Down on 136th Street.
North 136th Street.
Yeah.
Oh, we were there once.
Yeah,
For lunch.
yeah, exactly. We had a lunch there. Yeah, so and they have lots of greenery in the middle. But now for Christmas they put out a lot of decorations and things like. No, it's okay. It's cool. You're being. Yeah, and you're being broadcast live on YouTube.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. You got to get your 5 minutes of fame, Erlita. Anyway, don't worry. I wasn't actually filming it. It was just the audio coming through because I'm showing screens.
Oh, okay. Well, you were talking to them, but we were just talking so loud.
Well, it's right now. It's just Anna Sylvia. So
Oh,
sometimes I get Miriam and some of the other folks. So otherwise, they just catch the recording afterwards, so they'll hear it on the recording.
Especially like this part.
thanks.
Yeah.
Good
Yep.
night.
So this is what I've been up to. This is me playing with some filters in some other applications. A lot of the newer photo applications that have been coming out.
I am so sorry.
Yes.
Just get one of you guys to let me in. I took off my ID badge. Right in my mouth.
Oh, you gonna take care of it? Okay, Boris.
Thank you so much.
So some of the newer photo applications, because you have the big guns. You have Photoshop, you have Lightroom, and you have like Capture One, and those guys, which are dedicated, and like Focus, which is from Hasselblad, and the one from Nikon, and the one from Canon, which are dedicated photography applications for controlling your camera, and like they have things like doing tethered shooting. And so tethered shooting, in case I'm using a term that is new to you guys, is where instead of you take pictures with your camera, put it on the card, walk the card to your computer, read all the pictures in the computer, you take a USB cable, plug it into your camera, plug the USB cable into your computer, turn on Lightroom or whatever you're using, Lightroom, Capture One or whatever, and as you are taking pictures in studio with this longity-ass cable to your computer, they are automatically being put into your computer without you having to worry about having to move the card. So if you have, those are good if you have to get these done in a hurry and you have someone helping you. You can also see it on a bigger screen than looking at it on the tiny screen on the back of your computer. You can actually see it on the color calibrated monitor. Or if you have things like it also helps if you're doing things like photographing infants or small children where the parents are there.
And you can look at it.
And they can look at it on a computer and not be trying to chimp off the back of your screen.
What's that?
Look. Okay, and remember why it's called chimping. Because chimping is when you show people the pictures on the back of your camera. And the reason it's called chimping is because most of the time they react like this. So,
I'll have to remember that next time.
yes, that's why it's called chimping. Anyway, so there's a lot of photography software coming out now that relies a lot. They're taking kind of the Instagram approach, where you just apply filters to things and do lots of filters.
Which I don't.
Luminar and Aurora HDR do lots of filtering. On one photo? It's kind of half and half. You can do it has lots of filters, but you can go in and do traditional adjustments. Those are starting to get really popular, and there's a lot of. There's another one called Polar, which is available on all platforms. That does the same thing. It's all just filters, and you download filters, and you apply filters, and you do filtering. I mean, it has some minor tweaks for exposure and stuff like that, but it's not just a straight up. You have all the details there for you to mess with. You know, it's not like you're playing with Lightroom or Photoshop or Raw Therapy, which lets you have access to all kinds of crazy controls. Okay. Raw Therapy is an open source. If you want to get into playing with raw files and you don't want to spend money on an application to do it, there are several open source solutions you could use that are available for all the platforms. There is Raw Therapy, and it's spelled RAWTHERAPEE, like take a pee. Okay, which is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And what's nice about that one is that it actually has so many controls, it's overwhelming. It's got more controls than Photoshop. Imagine Lightroom is the 20% of Photoshop you'll use 80% of the time to mess with photos. Okay? Raw Therapy is 100% of Photoshop aligned up for photography. Just everything you could imagine possible in there. And it takes a little while to get used to how the controls work. And once you get good at it, you can set up styles and things like that, and it just applies your corrections automatically. And boom, you can batch process like an animal. Okay? So if you have like a bunch of shots, like say we do a party or you do a party or something like that, and the lighting's pretty much the same the whole way through, and you just got to do like a little maybe a little white balance adjustment or some nonsense like that, and you have a signature look you want to apply to your photos, you can get that all reduced down to a style in Raw Therapy, and then you just batch the whole selection, apply the style, and it's just like if you have a film simulation you like, if you have a like for example, when I shoot with my Fuji, I love to shoot with classic chrome. But in order for me to apply, I can't apply classic chrome to a raw file, that it only applies to JPEGs. So if I want to apply it, I actually found an accurate set of Fuji film simulations for Raw Therapy that includes classic chrome, and I look at the JPEG and a RAW with the classic chrome applied to it, and they look very close. So I can now have that in a style, throw it in there, and it applies my classic chrome look to all the photos I like to use. Okay. So that one's good. If you want more of a Lightroom type experience, another one you can get now that is free is Darktable, as opposed to Lightroom. Darktable, also free, also available on all the platforms. Okay, that one's at darktable.org, and the other one's at rawtherapy.org. Now, if you're running the Linux versions, you have to install one other library, which is the LensFun library, which contains all of the lens. It contains camera and lens adjustments, for distortion and stuff like that. They're separate. I gotta check and see if the Mac one bundles it or not. but there is a utility that you could run to update the libraries from the Lens Fund library if that's the case. They might bundle that in it and they'll let you run an update. Because the Lens Fund library is an open source project for collecting that kind of information where you can actually, if your camera's not there, you can submit sample photographs to the guy. Here's a raw file from this camera using this lens, and he can derive what he needs from it for doing the corrections and add it to the list. And he's been kind of doing it on his own, but that's been taken over by a new group, and they're in the process of bringing out version 2 of it, which is going to require an API change on all the applications. But because version 1 became a hot mess, they hadn't released an update to the actual API since 2015, but they've been updating the database. So everyone's saying, how come I get the 2015 one? He said, no, but just run the database update and you get the latest data. But he hasn't changed the API since 2015, so the project shows us no changes since 2015, but he's been updating the database constantly. So now the version 2 is starting to go into testing, and all the software authors now have to roll it into the changes into their applications to be able to take care of it. Another application, if you don't want something as heavy duty as Darktable or Raw Therapy, you want something more along the lines of, like, say, Apple Photos kind of thing for just photo management and light adjustments. There is one called Digicam, Digikam, also available now for all platforms. That one requires the use of a database. It'll usually use a SQLite database, but you can, like, connect it to a MySQL database to store all the information about your photographs. So you can actually back all that data up somewhere else and have your photographic changes and raw, and all the changes and everything are stored in a database. So that's kind of interesting from a computer person's point of view. Anyway, we carry on the fight for love and glory. A lot of these I've been processing with, these are all been processed with, all these photos I've shown you from my stuff are being processed with Raw Therapy. This is the classic chrome I was telling you about. Oh yeah, so I have an album that's called Cool Rides, and every time I see a very rare automobile, like an Aston Martin Vanquish, I gotta take a picture of it. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's what James Bond is currently driving.
Oh, is that the one that,
Yes, that's what James Bond currently drives. Huh?
Is the new movies for this year supposed to come out? Or
I don't know what's going on with that.
I know they were trying, but you can understand, like every 2 years to put out a movie. But it's,
Yeah. Well, the thing is I think there's been some discussion about pulling Daniel Craig off
I
of
think
being.
he's going to do one more.
I think he might have one more, and then they're working on trying to do another one. But they've been saying all kinds of wacky stuff, like they want Idris Elba to play James Bond. He's the guy who played Heimdall in Thor. The guy with the yellow eyes and the sword who opened the Rainbow Bridge.
No.
He was on the
It's been a
TV.
while,
Did you see Pacific Rim? The one with the giant robots.
yeah.
Okay, he was the commander of the commander with the British accent, the African American guy.
Oh, okay.
They want him to be James Bond.
Oh,
They were also talking about making James Bond a girl. It's like, okay, that works for Doctor Who, but nobody else.
yeah.
Because that means that at this point, if either of those two things happen, that means James Bond is not a person; he's a job.
Yeah, that eliminates the uniqueness of the character.
Yeah, it's no longer this particular guy; it's a job. You know. I'm not saying to be anti, anything. I'm just saying you're defeating the original
marketing of the character.
the original intent. No, the original intent of the author.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor Who pulled this off because the first actor who played Doctor Who passed away, and they needed to change him. So they actually came up with a mechanic in the show to allow them to change the actors who play Doctor Who. Because if you've never seen Doctor Who, the main character of Doctor Who is a Time Lord. He's an alien.
Yeah, he's a Time Lord.
Okay, and one of the things they do that extends it if they're near death is that they completely grow a new body. They regenerate. And it was later revealed that yes, and all choices are available to them. Any possible physical combination is available to them.
Yeah, which is part of the character.
Right, exactly. It's part of the character. Okay.
Old, new.
Yeah, whatever. So, male, female doesn't make any difference. Okay? But trying to apply this to other characters where it doesn't necessarily apply, I don't see that as I personally don't see it as a good idea. But that's just my opinion. Some people think it's cool. Whatever. I know I didn't go see the remake of Ghostbusters, where the role reversals, the gender role reversals. All the Ghostbusters were women, and their secretary was Thor.
I never did watch it. No.
Yeah. Chris Helmsworth was their secretary. So, I think that was the only reason why Maricela saw it. Anyway, this is my son over at UCF, one of our summer college tour, I think, the UCF Knights. Yeah. This is in Orlando. This is a university that's in Orlando, and they have a rather large cybersecurity program, and a team that's top 10 worldwide in cybersecurity competitions. But what struck me even more odd is that they have 60,000 students. They have more students than UF.
Wow.
And this year, their football team is #1 in their division. I mean, they're not SEC, but they're undefeated. And I had a heck of a discussion over the Thanksgiving weekend with my daughter as to explain how college bowl rankings work, and how some years there's no national champion because number one didn't play number 2.
Yeah. It's just top money schools in the game, in the sport, determine, or the sports broadcasters,
right,
who follow the
right,
college, determine who's going to be what, and then, like you said.
And I explained to her, I said, do you realize that at the beginning of the year, everyone's already ranked? He goes, well, Nebraska's #1 at the moment. How? They haven't played a game. Their score is 0-0. Everyone's tied. It's like everyone's undefeated at the beginning of the season. What are you talking about? So I have never... college football rankings is like trying to figure out airline pricing. It's quite the mysterious science. It's alchemy. For those of you who haven't been to Disney in recent times, do y'all remember Pleasure Island and Downtown Disney, all that stuff? Yeah.
Disney Downtown Disney?
Downtown Disney and Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island was Downtown Disney at night.
Yeah.
Where they would open up nightclubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All that has been supplanted, I won't say replaced, but supplanted with something called Disney Springs, which is enormous. And it's got a whole ton of shops. It's like, have you ever been to the shops at Caesar's Palace in Vegas? It's like, have you ever been to Aventura Mall? Think Aventura Mall, but like Beverly Hills. Okay? So that's what Disney Springs is like. It's full of all of these upscale stores and restaurants. I mean, Morimoto has a restaurant there. They got a whole bunch of new restaurants. I mean, all tastes can be satisfied at this place. There's everything. There's an Irish pub. There's Asian food. There's American comfort food. There is, the Ghirardelli's is still there, so you get your chocolate fix. It is enormous. And they have, have you ever been to the parking garage in Dolphin Mall, the new one? That tells you where there's an empty space?
I've seen that.
Yeah, they got that from Disney.
Wow.
They had it first. Yes.
Good. At least all those little cyclops, they're looking.
Yeah.
Saying, no car there.
Yes.
It's empty.
Yep.
Green.
Yeah, so you don't drive up, it's like, oh, it's a Mini. Ah. It's like,
Yeah, or it's a motorcycle. Jeez, nothing. Oh, jeez.
it's like, God, it's a motorcycle. Dang it. So, Anyway, so this is part of Disney Springs. I can't see what I'm doing. I got glare like. This is also part of Disney Springs.
Right.
This is also in Disney Springs.
Starving for food.
The classic stores are still there. World of Disney, that kind of stuff. Here's a shot of just one of the walkways full of stores in this place. It's like, gentlemen, protect your credit cards.
Yeah,
Hide them. Now, this is not to say that you can't cause some damage yourself, because they got a Harley Davidson store. They got all kinds of stuff for the guys too. We could blow quite the large wad of cash there too. So don't be afraid of that. That's the Cirque du Soleil.
Okay, Cirque's still there.
Cirque still, no, that's not Cirque. That's Planet. That's the one of the few remaining Planet Hollywoods on the planet. Is still there, and Cirque du Soleil is right behind it. So that's still there. And they have a, oh yeah, that's Morimoto. They have a giant AMC theater there now. 2 of them. One is a straight up theater, and the other one's a dine-in theater. You know, like sort of like a Cine Bistro, but this is the AMC version, because Cine Bistro belongs to Cobb. So they call it the AMC dine-in theater. It's a dinner and a movie. The first time I ever ate at one of those, I was watching the Dark Knight Returns with my wife. And at the end of they usually have like love seats, you know, that have fold-out tables for you to use for the food, because you eat in the theater. For your tray of food. There was a guy at the end of our row. He was sitting all by himself, and the only thing he ordered was a bottle of white wine, and he drank the whole thing himself during the movie.
Okay.
Like, okay, rough date. Anyway, you can actually ride that silly thing too. It's a ride, the balloon. You can go up in that hot air balloon. It takes you up and then brings you back down. Photo op.
It's not attached to anything.
Oh, it's tethered. It's tethered. It's a tethered balloon. It's a photo op.
So it probably goes, probably 500 feet in the air. So
This is the comfort food place called Homecoming, and the chef who's run this place, I can't remember his name at the moment. My daughter knows his name off the top of his head. We actually met him. He was there that evening.
He threw you out after you took a picture.
No. He was happy. But he actually got his start in the Disney College program, and he became a chef through the Disney College program. And then he started his own chain of restaurants. And then when they asked him to open a restaurant, he called it Homecoming, because this is where he got his start. And on that note, my daughter will be starting in the Disney College program in January.
Cool.
So
That's really cool.
yeah. We're having streaming issues. I gotta adjust it. Yeah, this is some more street photography in malls. Being very careful not to do that kind of stuff. Like I was saying before, when you're doing street photography, you got to kind of try and blend in so that people don't know. That one is a terrible shot. Yes. But you got to try and blend in, and it's not trying to be surreptitious. I mean, you're not trying to catch people in embarrassing things. You're trying to just have them be natural.
Like I see all the strange shot abilities that shoot down. Then I'd like to. Well, then I better have my telephoto lens, because I don't want.
Exactly.
You know,
Sometimes the telephoto lens is a blessing in this case, because you can be far away and get this shot and not worry about.
Then noticing you. They're
Yes.
sitting there taking.
In that case, it can be a little bit like birding.
Go the other way.
Right? But there are other schools of it. There's one guy, his name is Bruce Gilden. And I absolutely hate the way he does his stuff, because his is a New York City, in-your-face style. He will actually be walking next to you, and all of a sudden just go, hoo-ha! And you go, what? And he nails you right in the face with a flash. So, anyway, so that's about it for us tonight, I think.
Okay.
We have lunch on next Wednesday. I will have the menu. I'll email you guys the menu. We're going to have, like I said, price fixed menu. It's going to be $20 per person.
Cool.
There'll be grilled picanha steak, grilled chicken, and grilled salmon. So we gotta get,
Rich over having this salmon.
she can have some salmon for our pescatarian. And I do need everyone to give me a head count, so I can tell them by Monday I got it. Yeah, you won. You're gonna be two, perfect. Because I'm bringing my wife, and because I need to give them a final head count. We will have a private room so we can get rambunctious.
Cool.
And like I said, the drinks are in your own. Does not preclude me from bringing something.
Oh.
Because I'm making up a. Have you ever had limoncello?
Is that the white? drink?
No, it's yellow.
Oh, then no.
Limoncello is an Italian liqueur that it is made with lemons and vodka.
Oh. See the vodka got the smile on his face.
I don't drink it. I don't drink.
Oh.
I'm the bartender.
Oh.
But this has been stewing in my house for the last 3 days. It should be ready by Friday.
Cool.
I'll be bringing a bottle to the luncheon to share with everyone.
I basically don't drink. I like to taste things. Let's see.
Well, this is actually kind of an interesting recipe. It's actually not hard to make. It only requires patience and a little bit of effort. The effort in as much as you have to get so if you want to make a batch for yourself at home, you need a glass pitcher. You need 10 lemons. Okay. And you need a 750 milliliter bottle of vodka to start. Okay? So then what you got to do is you have to peel the rind off the lemons and throw the rind in the pitcher. Not the pulp of the lemon. You don't want lemon pulp. No, you want the rind. Okay? Then you take the entire bottle of vodka and pour it in the pitcher with the rind of 10 lemons. At least 10 lemons.
Whoa.
Okay? If they're big lemons, I got those little sun-kissed bags of lemons that they have at Publix. I just put one whole bag in one pitcher and another whole bag in another pitcher because I did 2 batches. Then cover it up with some foil or saran wrap on the top, just so that A, the alcohol fumes don't evaporate out of it, and B, so that dust or cat hair or whatever doesn't get in it. And then you let it sit for 4 days.
At room temperature?
At room temperature, out on the counter for 4 days. After 4 days, you take a saucepan and you add 3.5 cups of water and 2.5 cups of sugar. And you heat it up until the sugar dissolves and it starts to form a syrup, a slightly thick syrup. You then pour that into the lemon and vodka mixture, which by now will have turned yellow. Okay? And you stir that, and then you cover it up and leave it there for another day. After that's done, you take the whole thing and you strain it, and there's your limoncello. Ready to go. Now, in Italy, traditionally, the way they make it is they don't use vodka, they use pure alcohol. And they do it for 40 days. That's just Italian overkill. 4 days is, you're done in 4 days. Now, it's going to be like this clear, bright yellow color with the vodka and the lemons after 4 days. And then after the day with the sugar water in it, it will turn like a milky yellow color. It'll become slightly opaque. That's when it's ready. And I'll be bringing a bottle of that.
Sure is to try it.
Yes, which I made with Tito's handmade vodka.
Oh, Tito.
It's a brand of vodka from Texas, of all places. Besides, I could get a liter and a half, a liter and 3/4 bottle for $30. So it makes it more reasonable, to do 2 batches. So I will be bringing that along.
Great. Interested to give it a try.
Yep. Anyway, so that's it for us tonight.
Thank you.
Our meeting is next Wednesday at lunch. And then we will have our January meeting. I will send out the calendar event for everybody. We will be on YouTube.
Meeting is that?
Our December meeting is our luncheon. It's always the luncheon.
Okay.
Our January meeting will be here, same bat time, same bat channel.
Okay.
Okay, here as we normally do it. I will be restarting the beginner classes again, and we having some, like I said, we're gonna have beginner classes. We're gonna have an advanced user section. We'll be talking about Photoshop and stuff like that, wherein I will have to remote into my desktop upstairs and bring up Photoshop because I got off that treadmill at home. I'm pure open source. Actually, one last thing. So I will send everyone a link, but so Linux Journal Magazine, which is the #1 magazine for Linux use and Linux system administrators and stuff like that. They're digital only now. They stopped printing about a year ago. They're just digital only. But I wrote the cover article for December issue
Cool.
on Linux photography.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So
Good.
first time I ever wrote for them, and I got the cover article.
Fantastic.
So fun.
Okay.
Anyway,
Present
thank
it
you
for
very
us.
much, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
You need any help with anything?
Yeah, hang on. Let me stop the stream.
Okay.
Okay, where do I stop this thing? I love putting those bits on the thing at the end. Is like. Yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust the stream resolution afterwards. Okay, we're gonna come to this one and we're gonna say